Yeah, declining enrollment at the high school, it's certainly not getting any better. The graduating class this year is bigger than what next year will be, and the next and the next. So we will end up, if we keep 2 high schools, we will end up with 2 small high schools with less than 800 students at each school. Right now, there's about 1,100, 1,200 students at each school. It's on the, we see line of sight to having 750 to 800 students at each high school in the next 8 to 10 years. As Nancy talked about, combining the high schools is a community discussion, and there is a policy. I do not know the number, but there is a policy written around that where our community will get together to decide if we want 1 high school or 2. And there's certainly benefits of being 1 high school, and there's certainly a lot of benefits of being 2 as it relates to activities and sports. Another piece of the high school, and we talked about it last year through a referendum. When the referendum failed, the mayor at the time put together a private task force to look at it. The building itself needs a lot of work, and the task force agreed with that, and so did the board at the time. The community did not agree at a year ago's April election, but that is something that has to be addressed. We cannot keep kicking the can down the road on maintenance at the high school. We are doing the best we can with the budget that we have. We're replacing roof sections every single summer up at the high school. We carved out a piece of our operating budget this year to remodel the library in the high school, but there's major work that needs to be done. And as a community, again, we have to figure out a way to tackle that. A lot of people like to point blame at the current board or past boards. It doesn't matter. The problem exists, and we have to figure out a way to address it.
Tommy.
I did not grow up here, and one of the first things that I noticed living here was how unique and unusual the east-west combined operating facilities are. And it presents a unique opportunity, and I've grown to appreciate and respect having east and west at the same high school. I think it provides a lot of opportunities for the kids, both for sports, extracurriculars, AP offerings. However, as everyone has mentioned, the declining enrollment is something that we are paying attention to. We forecasted out 10 years based on current enrollment in kindergarten as well as birth rates in the county. And I think just from memory at past meetings, I think 1,600 students total for East and West combined is what Superintendent Kierkegaard had determined would be when we might want to consider combining the 2 schools. Of course, that's not going to be a board decision, that's going to be a public decision. So all I can do is help everyone anticipate that that's when we're really gonna need to take a much closer look at it. But like I said, I can't strongly reiterate enough that that's not going to be people sitting up here that make that choice. It's gonna be the public.
Thank you. Jody.
Okay, a couple things. One, when we're talking about the referendum and the high school, there was more to the referendum than just fixing the high school. So I don't really think that the referendum was voted down because people didn't think that we had things that need to be done at the high school. I think that when the referendum is put together, yes, that it needs to go into there again, but we need to make sure that the other parts of the referendum are necessary. I do think that, yes, the task force did a good job putting things together. I like their suggestions, if we're going to be closing schools and with declining enrollment and things, that we make sure that we're doing it so it benefits the whole school district, not just one community in the school district. Which right now, I know the aim is to still have Jackson have its very own school. The task force had something in mind where very close to Jackson, within a few miles north of it, that there would be a school set up so that when we close schools also in West Bend, we have a place to send our kids as well. So we should be able to, the whole community, be able to use a facility that we're building that keeps in mind declining enrollment. I had another thing in mind, but now I lost it. It was important. I should have made a note, so I'm sorry about that.
Okay, next question goes to Tani. Given the recent announcement that our current school superintendent will be leaving in July, what background and skills should the school board be looking for in his replacement?
We're all very sad to see that news that Don's going to be leaving us. I feel like what he brought to our district was excellent experience as well as empathy for both sides. He's a very good listener and makes sure that people feel heard, and he also continues to keep in mind the conservative values in our community. And because it's only been a couple years since we did our most recent search, we plan to try to find someone with the same qualities. Or if I'm elected again, I'm sorry, that's what I would like to see happen.
Jody?
I feel bad that we have gone through 3 principals or 3 superintendents in the last 4 years, and that we are on to the 4th one. I know it's a difficult job to hire a new superintendent. I know that we have to go through another company that costs us money to find these superintendents. I do know that there was a time that when we had a superintendent, Eric Olson, and he had a 1.5 years left to serve, and somehow we ended up buying out his 1.5 years, which costed our school our school district not only $230,000, I believe, in his pay, but also then we're paying for another superintendent who was hired at, I believe, $25,000 a year more, plus we had to pay for moving expenses for him. So I think it's really important that when we do find someone, that we do a true Midwestern search, and that we find someone who really is wanting to plant good roots into our community and stay, because it costs a lot of time and money, and of course it is disruptive to everyone involved, whether it's the students, the teachers, administrators, taxpayers, everyone.
Nancy?
As we embark upon the search for superintendent, I will point out that yes, sometimes you think you make a great hire, and sometimes it ends up not being a great hire. And I would challenge all of you in the room to say you haven't made that same situation happen in your work life. So that does happen sometimes. So as we look to the future, I agree. I think Don brought us some stability, and we all had hoped that Don would be here for 5 to 6 years. And the reality is that's about the average time you get out of a superintendent in the state of Wisconsin, between 5 and 7 years. So I hope that our next superintendent, as Jody pointed out, will put down some roots and stay in West Bend. I hope each and every one of you can help that person become accustomed to our community and enjoy this community as much as we all do. So that's important that we, have a nice friendly face for the new person who rolls in. I think this person also needs to be a very strategic person who can understand that we're not looking for just short term. We are looking for short term, but what we're really looking for is someone who can put together a plan for us for the next year, and then also have a strategic vision for the next 5 to 10 years. So we're looking for long-term strategic visions, as well as someone who can communicate with our students, as well as our families and our teachers, and someone who can really take our mission and take it to the next level.
Joel?
Like Tani said, I was pretty devastated when I heard the news that Don was leaving. He was a fantastic hire. I wish we could have had him for at least another year or two, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way, and he misses home, and his wife misses home, and so they're going back home.